This time on episode 262 of Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., we discuss The Punisher Season 1, Episode 6, The Judas Goat, weekly Marvel news, and your feedback.
I'm Chris from All Things Good and Nerdy, a proud member of the Good and Geek Network, just like the show you're listening to right now. The opinions expressed are those of the individual hosts. Make sure you check out all the other great podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready, because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
You have been granted clearance by Director Alfonso Mack Mackenzie. Stand by for a S.H.I.E.L.D. debriefing. All information to be discussed here is classified and may only be discussed among agents granted clearance by the S.H.I.E.L.D. Director.
Now it's time for your scheduled debriefing. I'm Director SP.
I'm Agent Haley.
I'm Agent Lauren.
And I'm Consultant Michelle.
Welcome to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. We're a Marvel Comic Universe fan show. This show is recorded on Sunday, November 11th, 2018, live from the Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. studios and broadcast worldwide via www.geeks.live. Remember, you can come on and join our live chat as we record. Ladies, happy National Veterans Day.
And worldwide, happy National Armistice Day. It's Veterans Day in the U.S. and Armistice Day everywhere else because it's also the 100th anniversary today of the end of World War I.
And in deference to our Canadian network owner, it is called Remembrance Day in Canada.
So, big day worldwide right now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure all of us here know people who have served or have people in our family. So, yeah, thank you. Know people who have died. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a long time recently with the terror thing going on with the United States, but the United States is not the only nation involved. So I just want to thank everybody for their service. And also, as Lauren pointed out, this is the 100th anniversary of the Armistice Day, which is basically the end of World War I. And that is a huge day.
Yeah, I highly, highly, highly recommend finding and reading the poem The Soldier by Robert Brooke, who, if I remember correctly, actually died shortly after reading it, or shortly after writing it.
Yeah.
He was in his early 20s, I believe.
I don't remember how old he was, but yeah, I think he was young.
I'm sorry, it's by Rupert Brooke. And it's heartbreaking. And yeah. Yep.
So if you know a veteran of the armed services or know somebody that's serving right now, go ahead and say thank you. I know a lot of the restaurants give free meals away today and stuff. I know my dad went out for lunch and got his free meal. I don't know if he's going out to dinner. He usually only does one. He doesn't do two.
A friend of mine actually has like a checklist today. He's like, okay, I'm going here, 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 here. So
yeah, I know people like that too. So thank you very much for your service. And I think it's oddly fitting with this particular episode, which we will get in later. But in the meantime, let's continue on with the podcast. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a fan-based podcast on the ABC television show Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is now in the 25th hiatus week following the season 5 finale. So we're almost half a year between the season 5 finale and hiatus. That will be next week. The multiple Marvel Netflix series, including The Punisher, which we will be discussing today, the Marvel cinematic and comic book universes in general as well.
Because of not having Claire on speed dial.
Oh. If you'd like to talk to us about how much you miss having Claire around, you can find us at our website, legendsofshield.com.
You can leave us a voicemail line about the lack of Claire in this show at 844-THE-BUS-1. That's 844-843-2871.
You can catch us on Facebook, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Podcast.
You can drop us a tweet at Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
You can see us lamenting the absence of Claire on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GonnaGeek.
If you have an Amazon device, you can tell it to enable Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. skill.
You can join our Discord server at gonnageek.com/Discord and talk to us about Claire there.
And remember, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a proud member of the gonnageek.com network.
We are indeed, and we're just going to jump on into the discussion. We are talking this week about the Punisher episode, The Judas Goat. And as a reminder, all 13 episodes of this season of The Punisher aired on Netflix or were presented on Netflix on November 17th, 2017. Just 1 week away from being 1 year old right now. Season 2
We're really on it, guys.
Is set to air in 2019, so we're still before the next season right now. Lauren, who directed this episode?
This episode was directed by Jeremy Webb, who has 31 directing credits starting in 1997, including 2 episodes of Doctor Who, both very good episodes in my opinion, 15 episodes of Merlin, 2 of Downton Abbey, 2 of Atlantis, 1 of Madam Secretary, 5 episodes of Masters of Sex, 2 of Elementary, 7 of Turn, Washington Spies, 2 episodes of Punisher, this one and 1 in the upcoming season 2, 1 of Runaways, 1 of Legion, so we've talked about that before. He did chapter 16, and 2 of the upcoming Umbrella Academy, which I am so hyped for.
Once again, we will not hold Jeremy Webb responsible for the title of the episode of the Legion that he did. But you know, if you've been listening to Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a while, you know our opinion on the titles of the episode of Legion. Michelle, who wrote this episode of The Punisher?
This episode was written by Christine Boylan, has 10 writing credits starting in 2008. Credits include 6 episodes of Leverage, 1 Castle, 5 Once Upon a Time, 2 episodes of Constantine, 1 of The Punisher, and 2 of Cloak and Dagger. And remember, The Punisher is based on the Marvel Comics by Jerry Conway, John Romita Sr., and Ross Andrew.
I see, Michelle, why you wanted to take the writer this week because of the Constantine episodes involved.
Oh, I loved that show, but hey, Constantine is on Legends of Tomorrow now, so I get my Matt Ryan fix. I'm sort of happy.
It is a fun season of Legends of Tomorrow, totally different from what they've done in the past, but it's been fun so far. So if you haven't checked that out yet, go ahead and watch the show. It's on free, available on the CW app and the CW website, and then go listen to the Starling Tribune. We'll talk about it from time to time.
I need to catch up on it.
Yes, you do. It's fun. It's
really fun. There's so many shows and so little time.
This is one you need to get caught up on because if you don't, I think
I saw the preview with the unicorn killing people at Woodstock, and I'm like, this is moving higher up on my priority list.
Did you see last season?
No. Like I said, I need to catch up.
Do it. Do it now. Quit the podcast. Go watch it.
I saw the thing with Denethor, and I know I need to catch up.
Yeah, you do. Lots of Bebo stuff that you've missed too.
Yes.
All right, so we'll get back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe over here with the Judas Goat. That's the title of this episode. So what's the meaning of that title, Haley?
Oh, there's a lot in there. Okay, so there's the goat, which is the goat that he talked about that he had to doctor up all the time. And then obviously equating Frank to that goat, somebody who's constantly damaged and blown up and has to be patched back together. And he says, eventually the goat can't take it anymore and it just dies. And he's thinking the same thing's going to happen to Frank. And then Judas, betrayal. The end of the episode, we see that we've been betrayed, predictably, if you've watched any Marvel Netflix show in the past, by the rich white guy with the fancy suit.
Okay, we have a lot of stuff to talk about in this episode, and this use of the term Judas Goat is where I'm starting. So a Judas Goat, I think I mentioned it last week, is actually a term for a goat that lives at a slaughterhouse and is used to lead goats to like a slaughter. The goats will see, oh, hey, this goat is really calm and cool, and so we're just going to follow it. But the goat's calm and cool because it's kind of raised at the slaughterhouse. And so they're used to lead animals into specific pens, onto trucks. They're not really used so much in modern times, they're still used in some places, but not widespread. And so, yeah, that is actually the term of a Judas goat. Judas goats are not the terms used for the medical goats. What he is talking about is actually this is an actual thing. This is the Goat Lab, aka the Brigade Combat Team Trauma Training, which, if I'm remembering right, I'm not sure if it's still in use, because I know there was a lot of controversy about it in recent years. But yes, this is a thing where they will simulate battlefield injuries on goats. And this is done while the animal's under anesthesia. And let's not kid ourselves, it's terrible. But there's an article on the New York Times by Adam Linehan, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, called "A Goat Helped Me Save My Buddy and Others on the Battlefield," and talking about his experience as a combat medic and about working on those goats. It's not called a Judas goat. They're working on anesthetized goats. And again, it's a different thing.
But that goat was not the Judas goat. I think Billy is the Judas goat, right?
Yeah.
I was actually equating it to that O'Connor guy, the guy that we find out later in therapy who's just been faking being a Vietnam War vet, all those stories about Vietnam. And he's leading Lewis into this whole Second Amendment right fight. And there they are on the court steps, and the cop is telling them to go along. And O'Connor is just like, yeah, let's go. And Lewis is standing his ground. And then Lewis gets arrested and O'Connor just leaves. So O'Connor has led Lewis into this state of thinking and abandons him and pays the price later on.
I hadn't even put that together. He's the one who, is the kind of safe goat.
And then you have Lewis, who's betraying O'Connor too by killing him. I mean, we all knew Lewis was going to snap at some point in time. It was the gruesome violence in the episode, and we all knew it was going to happen. We just didn't know what kind of form it was going to take. And this is how he snaps, because he personally was betrayed. I think that is not done with. We're definitely going to see something more with Lewis, whether it's Frank or Billy or who's the guy that's running the veterans group?
Curtis,
or all three of them. I think they're going to get intertwined in that.
In when he does stab him, when he first stabs him, you're like, oh, that's terrible. It's like he was just a really bad situation and his instincts took over, and that's horrible. And then he stabs him 8 more times, and you're like, okay, well, that's kind of murder.
Not only does that, but he makes sure he breaks his neck too, or his spine. And that's ultimately what probably really killed him. I mean, he was going to bleed out with the knife wounds, but yeah. Lots of bad stuff going on in this episode. And you have some play with Dinah too, with Special Agent in Charge Madani, because there's no way that she just slipped up and left that folder there for...
No, she wanted him to do that.
Right. So she was playing him.
Yeah.
She's kind of betraying him, I guess, along the way.
Yeah, but if anybody deserves to be betrayed...
Yeah, but it's almost like he knew. It's like, okay, yeah, you're using me to get to Frank. Okay.
The question I have is, at one point in time, did Agent Orange, just call him that, I know he's got a real name, or supposed real name.
I don't know his real name. I don't remember it. I just remember him as Agent Orange. Yeah,
so Agent Orange has Madani's office bugged. And so you don't know, by her talking to Sam about things, if that's how Agent Orange knew to get Russo on it, or if Russo and Agent Orange were in communications all this time, which
I assume they've been working together since Kandahar.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Anvil, Rose, very quickly. I mean, Billy got that company together really quickly and having all these contracts with the government and such. You don't build that up that quickly and that successfully unless you have some contacts.
Well, and a lot of money, like if you had been selling heroin from
Look
Kandahar.
up the history of Blackwater. There's some excellent podcasts about this. There's Behind the Bastards. There's The Dollop. There's just so many about Eric Prince and the rise of Blackwater. The main reason this guy was able to get it off the ground was he had the contacts, but most importantly, he had the money.
So that is assumed for us as far as Anvil and Billy Russo as to the fact that he's already working with Agent Orange or involved in the CIA for wet work.
We knew from Daredevil that more than one person in Frank's unit had been involved in the heroin trafficking. We just didn't know who else it might have been aside from the Colonel. So it was apparently Billy was one of those guys.
Apparently, but we didn't, up to this point, we really haven't, we haven't been shown anything to say, yes, this is all assuming, this is all saying, oh, of course, that's what it is now.
There's also the fact that, again, if you have read any of the comics, you kind of know he's not a good guy.
All right.
If you have seen any of the previous Punisher movies and happen to remember character names, you know he's not a very good guy.
Okay. So we're headed down this path. Question for you ladies. How did Frank know not to take Billy up on his offer? Because he was absolutely trusting him.
He didn't know not to take him up on his offer, but Frank has a mission right now. And that mission requires him to stay in New York.
I think it's the fact that, yeah, Frank is so single-minded. That's kind of his only saving grace right now.
Yeah. Because if it was just Frank still working construction jobs or whatever, I think he would have taken him up on the offer.
But the fact that he is kind of so dug in at this point, from what we've seen of Frank, he's not the type of person who would just leave something half done. I mean, look at it. He went back to the Lieberman's place because he missed dinner a couple nights ago. Because he said he would.
I think a little bit of that was what he was witnessing through the cameras, and that he knew she needed somebody to come in and basically give her hope.
There's also that, but then he said, that's not like me. You know, I said I'd be here, and then I wasn't. That's not like me.
Well, I mean, he was half dead.
Yeah, but the whole thing is, Frank is very, for all that he's in this world of a lot of blood and violence, Frank's a really simple guy. Everything we ever see of him in the flashbacks, everything like that, he likes his family, he likes music, you give him a job to do and he's going to do it. He's focused, he's just kind of simple, not like simple, not intelligent, but just simple. Here's the thing I'm going to do it. And then when that's done, okay, it's over with. He's not somebody who likes to overly complicate things. And everybody around him is just making everything more complicated, and you can see his frustration with it. I think that's why there's that frustration between him and Micro. Micro is somebody who lives in the details.
Right. So he's a simple Marine. Just tell him what to go shoot and he likes to go shoot it. You know, bad guy, good guy, that sort of thing. That's kind of Frank's mentality. Although, talking about some flashbacks, we got some weird drug-induced dream healing kind of dreams, and not really flashbacks, of Thanksgiving with Frank.
That was an odd one because he's with Micro's family and it's almost like they've known each other for a long time. And it just broke my heart when he's tied to the chair. And I know it's a dream. We all knew it was a dream. But gosh, his performance was just amazing because he's just begging the soldiers not to kill. But, you know, just like his other dreams and such, everybody gets gunned down.
Yeah, it's that muddled state of, I'm not sure if it's so much a dream as it is, it's that combination of head trauma plus a fever dream, essentially. If you've ever been sick enough where you're hallucinating, you know you get some weird stuff in there. And there's the fact that we always see him with that same dream of his family being gunned down. And this is a mishmash of the past several days and his past few flashbacks and his usual nightmare. And it's so sad.
Anyone think it's a miracle that Frank survived from the drive from Kentucky back to New York? I mean,
I swear I thought they were in upstate New York.
Yeah, I had no idea they went as far as Kentucky.
I thought until they mentioned later in the episode that they were in upstate New York as well.
They did mention the last episode where his family, like Lieberman found out where the family was.
But I just didn't remember hearing it.
Yeah.
Me either.
Well, it might have been where they actually filmed it in upstate New York versus driving down to Kentucky.
Well, I'm sure it is. Mm-hmm. But it seems to me like if they were planning to go all the way to Kentucky, he would have called about missing dinner anyways.
I mean, I don't think that's a drive you could make. Okay, let me say this. I am from Texas. Texas is huge. I have a really skewed view of what constitutes a short drive. So I don't know how long it takes to drive from New York City to Kentucky.
Well, it depends on where in Kentucky.
I don't feel like it's an afternoon jaunt.
Yeah, it's going to take the whole weekend, I think.
Yeah, I'm used to, okay, I need to go to another state. This is going to take like 10 hours. Unless it's Louisiana, which is more like 4 or 5.
Yeah, I don't think any state on the East Coast is going to take you 10 hours to drive through. I mean, north to south, like Georgia or Alabama, and maybe east-west in Kentucky or Tennessee.
11 or 12 hours, depending on like where in the city you're going from to where in Kentucky. Like it could be much longer.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Somewhere around 10 to 12 from New York.
Yeah. So you've got basically a whole day of driving on either side because you got to stop, go to the bathroom. Like clearly they're eating in the car. They're not stopping for dinner somewhere.
You're assuming they're going to stop and go to the bathroom.
I think they're going to pull over and pee in the woods.
I don't know. I mean, Frank's in the military. I don't know.
Powerade bottles,
yep,
guys.
There you go.
Yep.
But still, it's going to take a while.
Yeah, it's going to take a good, 10 to 12 hours.
Okay, I'm Google mapping
That's
this
what
right
I just
now.
did.
Yeah,
I just did a Google. Yeah. I did a rough one. It's 10 to 12 hours.
He should have called.
Like, hey, I'm not going to make dinner. Let's reschedule for next week. Unless he was doing this like 5 days before that dinner was supposed to happen, assuming he'd be back, and then he was in a coma instead.
I got the impression it was like from the event that occurred to when Kurt showed back up. I thought it was only maybe 2 days, a day or two.
I didn't think it was that long.
Yeah. So yeah, he should have called and he didn't. He got mission focused and didn't think twice about what was going on in the Lieberman household.
Can we talk about how Claire is a much, much better medical presence than Curtis?
All right, I have so many things.
Ditto.
Okay, so I'm not a surgeon, but I think if you're going to surgically remove an arrow, wouldn't you just go in the same way the arrow did?
You will not, actually.
Okay.
So what he did is actually correct.
All right.
Particularly if you look at that arrow, because it's hollow and everything,
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those ones that's designed to cause a lot of trauma. And if you try to pull it out, it's only going to cause more trauma.
Not to just pull it straight out, but if you're going to surgically remove it.
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay.
Depending on how far in it is. There's some that you can, like, yeah, it's a good idea to just cut it open and pull it through. But it kind of depends on how much trauma. Everything that I've ever read and stuff about how to deal with arrow injuries and stuff says you kind of, depending on the location,
you want to push it through. I know. I used to watch a lot of Hercules and Xena. I know they always push the arrow through.
No, I used to read a lot of, I was convinced that I was going to need this when I was younger, so I memorized a lot of like first aid and Army field manual first aid kits and stuff.
Yeah, you do go to the archery range quite a bit, right?
I do,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I could see, but with Lauren's track record of injuries, I could see this being a possibility.
But like what he does of actually going in and pulling it out because it's already on that track, you don't want to cause more trauma in that area. You're honestly causing less trauma by pulling it through. Okay. First of all, though, he makes that huge cut.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's a huge incision.
Not entirely necessary.
Also, he had medical supplies, but he didn't have like alcohol, rubbing alcohol. He was using liquor instead.
Yeah, which is not ideal. What you want to use is you want to use vodka because it has less sugars, less impurities.
Yeah. But also, like, if he had medical supplies, like, he could have gone to Walgreens and gotten a bottle of alcohol.
Exactly. Oh, my God. It's just run to Walgreens, get a thing of isopropyl alcohol. Anyway, that bugs me to no end. Especially, he's using a dark liquor. That's going to cause yeast infections. That's going to cause, it's bad.
And it's open. It's not even new. There's back spittle and other bacteria in it.
Every time Micro does anything, like he'll be like, okay, I'm using my gloves and then I'm getting my jacket. I'm like, you need to throw away those gloves. Or he'll use the hand sanitizer
and then wiped his hands on his coat.
I'm like, no, you don't do that. But anyway, we need to cauterize it.
Yeah, he just stapled the other side and he's going to cauterize this side.
Okay, you only need to cauterize if something is actively bleeding. Otherwise, you're just risking more infection. Like cauterizing, especially battlefield cauterizing, is an absolute last resort. You do not want to do cauterizing without, knowledge of what you're doing. And also, first of all, when he's like, we need to cauterize it, that thing was not bleeding.
No.
And with the back is what you want to worry about more with the cauterizing because it's the exit wound right there. The entrance wound, okay, yeah, it's going to suck. But it's what you need to worry about cauterizing are the blood vessels. The wound itself, I mean, yeah, it's going to suck, but you can live with it. It's the blood vessels that are going to stay inside and keep bleeding. Just everything about that just made me so angry. Although I am glad that he did actually have the medical stapler.
Yeah.
Now we'll see how long he keeps that in because if you've ever had any sort of surgery where you have needed medical staples, you get them out in about 5 days to a week. Any more than that, they get infected, they start itching. It's horrible. In season 2 of The Expanse, there's a character who has to have the medical staples on his head because his scalp gets split open. And he has it for most of the season. And I was getting so angry because I had to have surgery years ago on my back. And I had those. And after about 5 days, everything was just angry and red. And I'm like, get these the hell out of me. His head would not look like that.
I had to have my head stapled after a bike accident and they came out within a week.
Yeah, he's not running around for like a month with head staples and with them looking that clean.
So getting back to the cauterization, I was catching up on The Last Ship, which again, this is the 5th and last season of The Last Ship. And the main character, who's played by Eric Dane, he got abdominal wound, or maybe upper side wound to his chest cavity, whatever. It's amazing that nothing else was hurt, right? So he's by himself, he's behind enemy lines, and he's trying to cauterize the wound. And what he does is he creates a fire and puts rocks on the fire and then tries to cauterize the wound with the rock. And I'm thinking, he has not cleaned that rock off. There's a lot of dirt in that rock.
Oh my God.
I'm getting so angry just thinking about that.
Yeah, well, lots of stuff along with The Last Ship. I've talked about it before. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. But yeah, that was one thing. It wasn't this week. It was a couple of weeks ago that the episode was on. But yeah. Mm-hmm. And then...
Oh, I got so angry I had to punch my chair.
His co-star on the show is Adam Baldwin, who's, Jane from Serenity or Colonel John Casey from Chuck. I mean, and he's also done kind of stuff like that too. But yeah, as long as we're talking about cauterization, I thought I'd bring that up.
I'm so angry right now. You don't even know.
I know.
Mostly, though, I was impressed by this episode, and I was really impressed with the way that Frank Castle is being played, right? If there's anybody to play Frank Castle, yeah, I think they did a wonderful casting job, and you think he's going to be remembered for his role as Frank Castle for the rest of his career? Is this going to be the pinnacle?
I hope
I'm going to remember it.
Yeah, previously I'd mostly known John Bernthal from The Walking Dead. And yeah, he was good there, but
he was only in 2 seasons of it.
He's only in 2 seasons. But here he has a really good depth to him. He brings this character who could be just, this despicable serial killer, essentially, and brings this wonderful vulnerability and anger. And again, you have him talking about his wife to Micro, and like, I can still see her, and I can still see her doing not, just the little things. And then he brings the physicality, and he brings just all this stuff, and he's so good. I know I talk about this every week, but he's so good.
Yeah, I was just watching him. I was captivated by his scenes, because this was not an action scene for the Punisher, Frank Castle. This was just him walking around having conversations. John Bernthal is very good at having these conversations and acting like Frank Castle. I mean, it's like he was meant to play this particular character, which is great. So we didn't get Colleen, we didn't get Karen Page, and we didn't get Claire. Those trio weren't in here. But what we did get, I think, for a setup episode for just
we got, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is this the first butt in a Marvel show or in a Marvel property?
Wow, we're like
Maybe
half an hour into this and you're just bringing this up now. I was wondering how long it was going to take.
Well, we were talking about other stuff.
This is the most explicit sex scene I think we've had in one of the Marvel Netflix shows yet as well.
I think so.
Yeah.
He must have taken her bandages off.
So first of all, that angle would not work. And second of all, Ben Barnes' butt.
It could. Depends on anatomy.
No.
Well,
are you assuming
that guy would have to be hung like Liam Neeson, and even then, no.
and even if it's a different entrance, I didn't see any lube, and you need lube to go in that part of the body.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm glad we had this talk, ladies.
Yes. But yes, Ben Barnes's butt. 2 thumbs up.
Up where?
Up the butt. Taking it slow with lube and lots of communication.
And consent.
You ladies did get a shirtless scene.
They've been generous with the shirtless scenes.
They really have.
Yeah.
And you also got a oozing wound.
Well, of course.
It's the Punisher. We're getting lots of oozing wounds.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else to talk about this particular episode, Michelle?
No, here's the thing. I think Marvel needs to look at its pattern of having the rich white guy in the fancy suit being the bad guy. I think they need to realize that that's becoming a pattern.
Then again, read the news. Is it so different from reality?
You don't know. Maybe Billy and Ward are hanging out. Maybe they were frat brothers.
I've been listening to a podcast called Behind the Bastards, and it's making me really cynical.
All right. Haley, anything else about this episode?
Was there anything else? I feel like there was. I feel like at the beginning of the episode, I had a lot of thoughts, but I didn't take notes, so I don't remember what they were.
All right. Lauren, anything else about this episode?
Not about this episode, but can we all appreciate that my normally loud cat has fallen asleep at my feet and is not being loud for once?
My cat was loud to make up for it.
Oh, okay.
What kind of Benadryl did you feed Pike Trickleg in order to make that happen?
I have not fed him anything other than cat food, but I was playing with him. We were playing fetch earlier today, so I think that tired him out.
Okay.
The Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast does not condone dosing your cats.
No, only with good catnip.
Yeah, I've had to do that to travel with cats in the past. but
That's different.
It messes them up
That's
so much.
That's for everyone's benefit because the traveling is traumatizing for them too.
Yeah. We're gonna if we ever move, we're gonna definitely have to give Tonks Kitty Valium and Kitty Xanax because he is just a bundle of PTSD. But not like violent PTSD like Lewis. He's just scared and sad from being hit by a truck as a baby.
Oh.
So the next episode of The Punisher we're going to talk about is season 1, episode 7, called Crosshairs. Any predictions? I'll start with Haley.
I think Frank's going to start killing folk.
Well, yeah, we went one episode without him killing people, so.
No, I mean like a bunch of people.
Well, he's got to make up for the time.
Because he's got a bunch of guns and he hasn't gotten to use them yet.
Yeah, Micro was looking at the gun wall.
Chekhov's gun wall.
Michelle, any predictions for next time?
I wonder who's going to die first. Billy or Curtis. I don't want Curtis to die, but for some reason I feel like he might.
Frank can't have too many friends.
Yeah, and I feel like
Is Curtis going to...
Curtis might die to protect Frank or something like that.
Is Curtis going to die before Lewis?
I have a question. Where are they going to go with Lewis, do you think?
He's on the run now.
I have that question too. Like, how is he connected to Frank's story?
I'm wondering if Billy is going to bring him in to use him for like clandestine stateside
Or maybe
stuff
go
off the
after
books.
Frank. I don't think he's good enough to, but he could.
Yeah, Scott and I were watching, and when the whole stabbing thing happened, Scott's like, I mean, it's self-defense. And I'm like, well, you could argue the first stab was, but then the other 15.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like the 6 after that, that's when it becomes more murdery.
That's a bit of overkill right there. I feel so bad for Lewis. I feel so bad for him.
The whole fight was escalating. If you took a look at the whole thing, he asked him to leave. Okay, he lied first, so okay. And then he asked Lewis to leave. O'Connor asked...
All right. But up, you had a brawl going, and then O'Connor brings a knife into it.
O'Connor slashes him in the stomach first.
Yeah.
You can see it.
True, but he brought the pipe out, too. I mean, once he brought the pipe out, I knew it just wasn't going to end well. And he's old. I don't know if you can justify it or not. He's older, so he thought he had to protect himself. It's a really weird fight.
And at the same time, he's one of those... Like, the way they've portrayed him, he's a guy, he's self-aggrandizing. He's tried to build him up into this legend. He's trying to, justify all these horrible opinions that he has by saying, like, oh, I served in the military, therefore you can't question anything I say. And then when somebody does try to call him out on it, when somebody does try and say, hey, stand with me, take a stand, guy does nothing. And when somebody tries to call him out on his stuff, he flops, and he's like cornered. And so he does what any cornered animal does, is try and fight. The thing is, he's trying to fight somebody who's younger than him, stronger than him, and has had recent hand-to-hand combat training and is unstable. And is feeling like he's having his life threatened because guess what? Guy just slashed him in the stomach with a knife. So it was never going to end well.
No.
Lewis should have stayed away.
He should have. He should not have gone to him.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of should haves there. And
I think if there had been a witness, he probably could have argued self-defense right up until he stabbed him more than once. Because, the first thing, he just turned the knife on him. And that was probably instinct more than anything. But I also think any prosecutor is going to say, you went to this house with the intent of killing this guy because you were mad.
Yeah. It's a terrible situation. The fact that it's a TV show and we saw it all work out means that we can dissect this just down to the wire. And the fact remains that there's... I don't know. I know what the writers are trying to do. They're showing somebody in a bad situation who people are reaching out, trying to help him, and he's backing away at every turn because he doesn't think he needs it.
Right. And he's disconnected himself from his father and from everybody else and blames Curtis now and knows he can't go back to Curtis now because of O'Connor. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not so much that he's slipping through the cracks as that he jumped through the cracks and now doesn't know how to scramble back out. He's just digging himself. It's the whole thing with the hole. He's digging the hole because that's all he knows how to do. And
right, the foxhole from previous episodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Lauren, what else do you have to say about the future? Any predictions?
I'm going to say that Sarah Lieberman's going to hit on Frank, and it's going to be real awkward for everyone involved. And I think that might have been a prediction of mine from a previous episode, too.
I know. I was kind of hoping they don't go there because I respect the character, but yeah.
I kind of like that they're just friends because they're in similar situations and losing parts of their family.
Yeah.
But I also think it makes it the relationship between Frank and Micro much more tense if, his wife makes a pass at him.
Yeah, I like the fact that, okay, what I want to happen with there is that off camera, Frank is like, hey, by the way, your husband's alive. You want to get back at him? And they make a show of being and it's like all double entendres. And it's really funny for us, the audience, because we know they don't mean it. But this isn't that kind of show. I don't think that's going to happen.
That would be kind of funny. Yeah.
And then they're like, this is what you get. This is what you get, Micro.
Yeah, but that would involve Frank actually having to do a layered conversation, and Frank is a blunt instrument, and him trying to do layered conversation and double entendres and triple this. That's not Frank.
No, as we've discussed before, Frank is a simple creature. His attempt at double entendres would be so terrible.
Bernthal can pull it off, but yeah, Frank.
Oh, yeah, no, Bernthal could pull it off. Frank would have to, okay, this is how it would go. Leo would have to write up a script for him. He'd have to read it off the back of his hand. It would come off like a third grader's attempt at a school play.
Why would Leo write the script when...
Because I'm saying that she is probably better at being clever.
Okay. All right. Anyway, so that's what our predictions for the future are, and we're looking forward to watching the next episode. We might have to take a week or two off. You might not notice because we're behind in the editing, but we will be back as soon as we can. In the meantime, Lauren, if somebody wants to go out and catch other great geeky content, what do we have to offer?
Well, you might want to check out one of my favorite podcasts on the network, Better Podcasting. In episode 154, Is It Really Team Over Tech? This week in the show, Stephen and SP ask the question, what is more important in podcasting, team or tech? Again, that's Better Podcasting, episode 154.
All right, guys, news time. So, Tom Hiddleston plays Loki, and he might be playing Loki a whole bunch more.
Yes. So we've been discussing, we're going to get these shows for Marvel streaming. Will we be getting the actual people for the show or not? Well, here's an answer. The Loki show will be released on Disney's brand new streaming service, Disney Plus, which just got a name this week. And Tom Hiddleston will be returning as Loki. There's also going to be, this is not Marvel related, but it just makes me happy. We're also going to be getting Cassian Andor from Rogue One series with Diego Luna, and I'm so happy about that. But Tom Hiddleston on his Twitter and Instagram posted a text picture that said, Loki, more stories to tell, more mischief to make, more to come on November 9th.
My real question is if Chris Evans is going to come back and portray Loki, when Loki starts to become Captain America. That's my question.
It was just his head.
No, it was the whole body. I mean, they were walking.
It was. No, it was Chris Evans's whole body.
Oh, I thought they had Tom Hiddleston do the scene because Chris Evans wasn't available to film on the day, and then they put his head on later. I thought that's what I heard.
No, they shot it both ways. They did. It was very interesting because Tom Hiddleston did it, and when he swung, like that shield, like he really didn't have control of the shield. But then when Chris Evans did it, I mean, he's got control of that shield. So when he like spins and everything, like you can tell just the way that it was. No, it was each one.
Yeah, they had Tom Hiddleston. They were like, well, apparently he fits in the suit. So yeah. It was a whole thing. You can find information about that on both us discussing it on previous podcasts and on the Thor, what was it? The Dark World behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So in the TV world of the Marvel Universe, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the most popular Marvel TV show.
Duh.
There was a recent Parrot Analytics study. The very first MCU television show, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., is more popular than any of the Marvel shows currently on Netflix. So there's a lot of reasons why this could be. Because, well, first of all, it's actually on network television. But it turns out that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is in the top 0.3% of in-demand TV shows worldwide. So that show's numbers are higher than the originals Supergirl, Arrow, and Fear the Walking Dead.
I can believe this because it's a series that's most closely tied with the MCU. Yes, there's been other tie-ins, but this series has been the most closely tied, and it is the series with the most seasons so far. Even the Gifted, Legion, whatever, none of them have 5 seasons yet. And you could argue that the Defenders is just one season after the other. Okay, fine. But Daredevil itself is only at season 3, maybe 4 if you count the Defenders. So I could definitely see Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. being the most popular show just based on those things.
And it's the most family friendly. You think about it.
Yeah, that has to count for a lot. There's also the fact that word of mouth is always a good thing. And, oh, wow, it's gotten so much better, you guys, is always something that I keep hearing and seeing.
They had a flying ship. A flying ship. R.I.P. the bus, too.
You mean Zephyr 1?
No, remember that ship that was flying last season?
Yeah. I remember. All right. So, kicking it back over to movies. Avengers 4 could be a very long movie.
Yeah. Earlier this week, according to The Hollywood Reporter, Joe Russo has revealed that as of right now, the movie is like 3 hours long, though that could change.
Yeah, there's always a director's cut of the movie that is really long, and that is not the version we usually see in theaters.
Yeah, I'm personally fine with it. I regularly watch the extended edition of the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah, but that also is split across discs, so it's got like built-in bathroom breaks and snack breaks, and you can pause it when somebody delivers a package to your door or whatever.
Yeah, and I also, saw the Lord of the Rings movies in theater, and
yeah.
But, there's a place for long movies. And this one being a big culminating thing, I think maybe isn't a bad thing. Then again, it depends on how tight the story is. Like, there's
a lot of characters and a lot of stuff to wrap up. So I could see them needing a long movie to tell that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's going to be even more because Ant-Man and the Wasp are going to be in it. It's Captain Marvel, so it's the extra people coming in to rescue the people who were in the first one.
Yeah.
But everybody that's died of the Thor's, or not Thor, Thanos' thing.
Thanos' snap.
Yeah, I think they're not going to be in the movie. So for the first, at least half, I'm thinking 3/4 of the movie,
it depends on what they do with the movie. There's been talk about how they might tell that story that would include more people.
Okay.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. We won't know for another few months. I'm excited and nervous. I'm just like, come on, guys, please just nail the landing. Stick the landing, guys. Just stick the landing.
Yeah, we know it's going to be Chris Evans's last movie in the MCU. We don't know about anybody else specifically, but I'm gathering there will be some completion of character arcs beyond Captain America with this movie. And Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel.
Yeah. So excited.
All right, so that's it for the news this week. We're going to move on into some feedback.
Hey, we had some feedback on Twitter. At Mr. Paracletes shared something with us.
Mr. Paracletes retweeted Ming-Na Wen and said, "S.H.I.E.L.D. logo for the win," in response to Ming-Na Wen saying, "Princess Mulan is about ready to hit the red carpet for Ralph Breaks the Internet premiere." And her phone has the S.H.I.E.L.D. logo on it. And just yay. First of all, she continues to be gorgeous. And second of all, I'm looking forward to Ralph Breaks the Internet. And third of all, she's just amazing. She's been in so many things. And just aside from being Agent May, and of course she is Agent May. So moral of the story is that Ming-Na Wen rules.
And she was on this week's Fresh Off the Boat. So even if you don't watch, first off, Fresh Off the Boat is really funny.
Yeah.
Watch her episode. It's very interesting seeing her do comedy and everything. It was just an amazing episode.
Yeah. PSA, watch Fresh Off the Boat. It's fantastic and the cast is amazing.
And noticing the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on her phone case, I've always been curious about this. When they're filming, do they allow the characters, the actors, to have their own phones, or do they get prop phones on the set? I have no idea how that works.
I assume it's prop phones because they don't want somebody accidentally getting a phone call while they're trying to film.
But at the same time, I've seen some, I don't know, because I've seen like outtakes where people get phone calls.
Yeah, but it's usually like it's coming from off camera.
It's true. Oh, man, I don't know.
I would think they would want like a specific prop phone so they could like time when the graphics and stuff happen.
And then plus so they can have a deal with whoever, whatever phone dealer.
Right. Whoever is sponsoring that week's episode.
Yeah.
All right. It was just a thought.
No, it's a good thought. And like, I know it was a big deal when they did Captain Horrible that they actually used like the cast's phones in that because they had like no money.
Dr. Horrible, you mean?
Yes. What did I say?
Captain.
Oh, I'm dumb. And tired.
Captain Hammer, whatever.
Captain Horrible's the ship name, I guess.
At Born to Eat Bacon has a request for us.
Born to Eat Bacon said, "I think if Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. really loved us, they would scout Avengers 4 on opening night and announce the 3 best potty tunities." And then there's a little bit of a conversation that follows in which Mr. Paraclete says, "I'll take that hit because I plan on going opening night."
I think the best tip is to hold it.
Yeah, first best tip is to hold it. When I went to go see the 2 towers.
Also, I think there's already an app for this that tells you when the best time to pee.
Also, really don't hold it. Here's the thing. Don't drink anything.
Yeah,
like
I don't
before,
get drinks when I go to movie theaters anymore.
And don't drink anything during. Don't eat anything during. Make sure you go to the bathroom before, like during the previews. I like going to the bathroom like before in the previews because you're not missing anything.
I go to the bathroom at home before I go to the movie theater. Don't drink anything.
Well, no, I like to have a drink at the movies. But, okay, first of all, there is an app. There's an app called Run Pee.
But does it work on opening night?
But just in general for movies. Know. Hold on. In general for movies, the best time to go is anytime there's like travel between dimensions or something happening, because it usually takes a long time and there's no plot happening. So like in Power Rangers, when they first go to Zordon's lair through the water, it's a great time to go to the bathroom. In the Dark Tower, when the thing is happening with the house, good time to go to the bathroom. So I'm sure there's going to be some sort of portal type thing happening at some point in the movie. That's when you go pee.
Also, I just want to point out that the last time I went to go see a movie and didn't drink anything and was semi-dehydrated, you all said that was a bad idea.
Well, being dehydrated is a bad idea. Having a giant soda and just sipping on it the whole time during a 3-hour movie, that's different.
All right.
But yeah, when I went to go see The Two Towers, I was about to explode at the end of the movie. And I was just like, I need to hold it. I need to see how this ends. And then I like rolled into the bathroom because, there was no way I was missing that movie.
Back when I was in high school in my small hometown, there was like this small old theater that we would go see movies at. And because of the type of the projector they had and the type of theater it was, they still got their movies delivered in like 7 or 8 reels. And they had intermission still. So halfway through the movie, there's an intermission. You go buy more concessions, use the bathroom, all that stuff. It's great. I don't know why we ever stopped doing it. Intermission should be a thing again.
Every time you watch Gone with the Wind, or Wizard of Oz, they both have intermissions in them, and they play the intermission on TV. So, just pointing that out.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail, I think, has an intermission.
Oh, yeah, they do. History of the World Part 1, I believe, too.
Yeah.
And intermissions would help movie theaters sell more stuff because we all know we would go buy more stuff. And be like, I do need more candy.
Well, no, what would happen is people would be getting the free refill on their popcorns that they never actually get.
Yeah, we used to just send my little sister out to get the refill. Because, she's the youngest. Therefore,
she deserves to miss part of the movie.
Yeah.
She's grown up hating you guys all these years.
She always did. We used to play hide and seek with my cat, Snoopy. And one day he jumped out and latched onto her shoulder and just started flailing away with all of his claws. And she's running into furniture screaming, "Get him off!" And me and my mom are just pointing and laughing. So yeah, And then speaking of needing staples, there was the time that she split her head open, but we were camping and my dad didn't want to take her to the ER. So he just put a popsicle on her head. My mom's like, "She needs staples." And my dad's like, "No, this is fine." So yeah.
All right. Medical treatment in the Sith Witch household.
There's a reason that I decided to memorize a first aid guide when I was a kid.
Because you needed it, yeah.
Well, it's me.
So that's the end of the feedback, and we've decided via previous agreement that we're going to go ahead and backstab each other on the way out. And miraculously, we're all still here after that, so I don't know.
Or are we?
Yeah, it could be CGI.
No, we are.
Right.
We are.
Thank you, everybody, for sticking with us with this season of The Punisher. We can't wait for the next series, whether it's another Netflix series or if we're going to transition into something like Cloak and Dagger.
Thank you to everybody who gets a hold of us on Twitter, on just anywhere, who sends us stuff that makes you think of us. We love hearing from you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you everyone who's listening right now and who is listening probably in the future because not that many people are listening live. But thank you for listening anyways, and we love getting any feedback from you. So thank you.
Yes, thank you for listening. We appreciate it. And happy holidays.
Yeah, we're starting to get into that era of holidays. So until next time, I'm Director SP.
I'm Agent Haley.
I'm Agent Lauren.
And I'm Consultant Michelle.
See you guys next week or next time. Bye.
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 Thank you for listening. If you want to leave us feedback, go to gonnageek.com and you will find all our contact information and other shows. You can also visit legendsofshield.com where you'll find our complete archive of podcasts. The music heard on this podcast is by Kevin MacLeod, found at incompetech.com, and also artists on pond5.com and audiojungle.net. The opinions heard on this podcast are those of the individual hosts and do not represent Stargate Pioneer Productions, Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., or Gonna Geek. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the property of the Disney Corporation, Marvel Studios, and ABC. No infringement is intended. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is copyright 2018.